Email marketing, understanding the law and how this affects your marketing. Okay, this may not be the world's most sexiest subject to talk about, but if you are engaged in email marketing or thinking about starting doing it, then you really need to understand how this works. Over the past few years, there's been quite a dramatic increase in the amount of cases that the Information Commissioner's Office, the ICO, have brought against businesses carrying out marketing that are falling on the wrong side of the current legislation that's in place. In this video, we're going to look at the Electronic Communications Act 2003. We're going to look at what the law states you can and can't do, and then we're going to apply some common sense to it and see how you can get the most out of your email marketing while still making sure that you fall on the right side of the legislation. We will also be looking at the Data Protection Act and how this affects businesses carrying out marketing. And we'll also be looking at email filtering companies. These are the companies that have the spam algorithms inside Outlook, etc. So whenever you send an email, this is the plug-in piece of software that defines if your email is going to sit in your recipient's junk box or go straight into their inbox. Okay, it's worth noting that whilst this video is aimed at anyone wishing to carry out best practices when considering embarking on email marketing, it's primarily aimed at UK businesses that are carrying out marketing inside the UK. Okay, plenty of caffeine, now let's get started. The big question, can I use purchased lists? Okay, well there's always been a degree of confusion over this. Can I use a purchase list? So what does the law say? Well, the Electronic Communications Act, which is the law that we're looking at, it says yes you can, but it also says no you can't. So there are a couple of definitions about in which instances you can use a purchase list and in which instances you can't. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the law says and we're going to look at how this applies in each instance. Okay, the first area is business to business, referred to as B2B. So what does the law say here? The law says that you can use a purchased list to send marketing emails to a business. Okay, now your recipients, they need to have opted in via a third party to receive marketing emails. So if they bought something online or registered with a website, and if they put a little tick in the tick box at the bottom that often appears that says, I agree to my email address being passed along to related or third parties that may wish to send me marketing communications based on my preferences. So in that instance, if your business recipient has followed a clear, auditable opt-in path that if necessary can be verified, then yes, the law says you can use a purchased list. Okay, the next area that we're going to look at is business to consumer, commonly referred to as B2C. Now, a consumer is a private individual. Now, this may look like an address such as at Hotmail, Gmail, AOL, BT Internet, BT Connect, etc. Now, the law says in this instance that you cannot use a purchased list. So if a consumer has opted in via a website and they may well have consented on there to receive third-party emails, the law says you cannot purchase a list and send to these people. Now, you can only email consumers if they have asked to receive emails directly from you. Now, a common way is if they purchase something on your website, or you've got a newsletter sign-up form on your website or via your social media where you have given these people the opportunity to come and visit and sign up to receive your product updates. Okay, now what we really need to do here, now that we understand the two groups, is we need to get a clear definition of what exactly is a business address, because there are some areas of grey here that we really need to understand. Now, the lawdonut.co.uk, they say that a business address, or what they call a corporate subscriber, is a limited company, a limited liability partnership, or a Scottish partnership. It also covers schools, government bodies, and NHS, etc. Now, the important thing to bear in mind here is that what it doesn't include is sole traders and partnerships. So if you've purchased a list of business addresses, then you need to make sure that everyone on there, if they're a business, that they fall inside that category of being a limited company or an LLP. Remember, partnerships and sole traders, the law classes these people as consumers. Now, it's really important to bear that in mind. Okay, the next area we're going to look at is the Data Protection Act. Now, primarily, we're going to be looking at how this affects UK businesses. Now, if you're a UK business, the law says that if you collected information off of your customers, for example, then you need to adhere to the Data Protection Act. And this means geographically that your data needs to be kept in a location that's covered by the geographic limitations of the legislation. Now, this is important when it comes to email marketing, because you're probably using a third-party piece of software or an external company to organise this for you, and you're probably uploading your data to their website. Now, the thing to bear in mind here is even if it's a company that's based in the UK, you need to make sure that their server network is based also in the United Kingdom. It's pretty common for email marketing companies in this country purely to be resellers of American products. It's not their products that they're selling, they're just a front of house for an American company. So you could be uploading your mailing list and without you knowing it could be going to servers in America or overseas. Now this is important because the law says that you need to keep that data inside the United Kingdom because it needs to be governed by the Data Protection Act. So it's worth just putting a quick telephone call into your existing supplier and just double checking where are your servers based. Okay, how do email filtering companies affect your email marketing? Now when you send an email marketing newsletter, when your recipient receives it, before it drops into their inbox, it will be filtered through a third-party piece of software or a plugin. Now generally programs such as Outlook, etc., they have this inbuilt. What that does is it looks at the reputation of the server that's sending and it looks at the body content. And if the server has a negative history, i.e. it's been involved with spam complaints or unsolicited mail previously, then it carries a negative loading. Now what this does is it affects your spam score, and a negative loading will mean that without you knowing, these spam filtering companies could automatically be classing everything that you send as spam and just putting it straight into the recipient's spam filter. So even though this recipient may be someone that has asked to receive your email, because of previous unsolicited mails that have gone out on that server, it could really be affecting your send. Okay, now these filtering companies employ a very strict code of contact. They believe that any list that's purchased of any kind, be that businesses, consumers, whether it falls inside EU law or not, they believe that these are a bad thing and that they shouldn't be used, and that their filtering software is set up to prohibit use of what they class as an unsolicited mail. So if you've purchased legitimately some limited company addresses and you send out to these people, when a client receives your marketing email, inside the browser there's a little button that they can mark to click it as spam. Now what that does is it sends a small report back to the filtering company's main server, and if enough people do that, then you start to generate what's called a negative history. So your sending server will then have a negative loading attached to it. Okay, so in summary, should you use purchase lists or not? Well, we've looked at how the law stands in this area. We've looked at in what instances the law says, yes, you can use a purchase list, and we've looked at the other side when the law says, no, you can't use a purchase list. But should you use them? Okay, so even without taking the law into consideration, the results achieved through purchase lists are never as good as they are through a list that's been properly qualified and you've generated yourself. I know that purchase lists, they may initially be tempting because it may be a quick way that you can get lots and lots of email addresses. But there are lots of methods that you can employ to easily generate your own list. You can put a sign-up form on your website, you can use social media, you can run competitions through Facebook, etc. You can go to trade shows and collect email addresses. Even the simple things like just going through your customer databases and just putting a list together of all the people that you've dealt with before. So please feel free to bookmark this video, as it may be something that you find useful to refer back to when you're doing future marketing campaigns. So I hope we've not sent you to sleep. I hope you found it useful and informative, and please check back for more videos in this series.